me ask you this. Point blank, do you think the Build Back Better program, which I like to call Build Back Broke again, do you think it should pass? Or do you think that the Republicans should hold the line and say, look, our debt to GDP ratio is astronomical? I brought a few numbers for you from our debt to GDP ratio. So
No,
it's
I know.
nearly,
We're up to
yeah, it's a,
125% or something.
yeah, but for our viewers, so the debt to GDP ratio in 2000 was only 56%. It was 35% in 1980, and it was 52% in 1960. So don't you think there's something wrong here with this picture? And for that reason, would you oppose BBB?
Well, let me just say a couple of things. First of all, I find it a tad disingenuous that a lot of Republicans are so concerned about the debt when they're out of power. I always say all politicians love government spending. The Democrats just admit it. And by the way, the Biden administration is the first Democratic administration where spending has been out of control. Because if you look back to 1980, during what administrations has government spending, the deficit, and government employment risen? Republican administrations, not Democratic ones. So I just want to point that out, being the fair guy that I am. But to answer your question, I will say this. I think the Build Back Better program should have been the program passed instead of the American Rescue Plan, because it spends money over 10 years. Then you would have had programs that are actually helping people, some of which I agree. As I've said, I don't think the government should be building charging stations to help people with electric cars. The market should do that. I mean, imagine if oil barons had said, "Oh, let's have the government build gas stations so we can sell more gas and oil." That's ridiculous, right? So, but I think a lot of this stuff, helping people with childcare, helping people with pre-K, helping people with home care, I think that stuff is a good investment. And that's the good kind of so-called human infrastructure. So if they had passed that program first with the spending over 10 years, then we would be okay. And the only other thing I would say is that all these bills, whether it's these tax cuts, they have to have fiscal, prestidigitation, to use one of my dad's favorite words, sleight of hand, because they have to fit under the rules of reconciliation. So they have to expire after 10 years. And it's all budgetary gimmickry.